Greetings fellow Planeswalkers, I'm James and welcome back to the Commander at Arms YouTube channel. This week on the YouTube channel we're going to be going over another deck tech for you from Dungeons & Dragons AFR. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for the notifications, like the video, and also leave a comment in the comment section below for the algorithm. Let's get into this deck. We're going to start talking about our commander. This is Farideh, Devil's Chosen, 2 blue and a red for a 3/3 Tiefling Warlock with Dark One's Own Luck. So whenever you roll 1 or more dice, Farideh, Devil's Chosen gains flying and menace until end of turn. If any of those results was 10 or higher, you draw a card. So we're either going to be swinging with our commander and dealing a butt ton of damage, or we're going to be drawing cards by the amount of dice we are rolling in this deck. So as you know on the channel here, we go through our ramp and card draw, so let's get into our ramp. To start us off, we have Arcane Signet. It's 2 and taps for a mana of your color, of your commander's color identity. After that, we have Bucknard's Everfull Purse. I love this card. It is fantastic. I've seen it give a butt ton of treasures in a game that we streamed with the Commander Crew guys. So it is 2 mana for an artifact with an activated ability of 1 and tap. Roll a d4 and create a number of treasure tokens equal to the result. That player, the player to your right gains control of Bucknard's Everfull Purse. After that, we have Component Pouch. This is a 3 mana artifact with 2 activated abilities. The first one is tap and remove a component counter from Component's Pouch and add 2 mana of different colors. And then you can tap and roll a d20. If you roll a 1 to a 9, you put a component counter on Component Pouch. If you roll a 10 to a 20, you put 2 counters on it instead. We have Hoarding Ogre. It is 3 and a red for a 3/3 Ogre. This is whenever Hoarding Ogre attacks, you roll a d20. If the result is 1 to 9, you create a treasure token. If the result is 10 to 19, you create 2 tokens. And if it is a natural 20, you create 3 treasure tokens. We have Izzet Signet. It is 2 mana for an artifact, 1 and tap, and add Izzet colors to your mana pool. After that, we have Ornithopter of Paradise. It is 2 generic mana for a 0/2 Thopter with flying and taps for any 1 color of mana. We have Sol Ring. I'm not going to talk about Sol Ring. We have Talisman of Creativity. It is 2 mana rock that taps to add colors or taps to add a blue or a red, and it deals 1 damage to you. We're playing 40 life. Doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. What is 1 damage? We're playing Thought Vessel. It is 2 mana artifact. You have no maximum hand size, which is fantastic for this deck because you're going to be drawing a lot of cards. And it also taps to add colorless to your mana pool. All right, let's go through the card draw now. So we've got, 12 ways to draw cards in this deck, Commander being one of them, but let's go through the native ways we can do that. And that is with Arcane Endeavor as our first card draw spell. It is 5 and 2 blue for a sorcery that says roll 2d8 and choose 1 result. Draw cards equal to that result, then you may cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value less than or equal to the other result from your hand without paying its mana cost. You're rolling 2 dice here. You're gonna get, the life gain. You're gonna get the flying and the menace trigger off your commander, but you won't be able to actually draw cards off her, but that doesn't matter because you can draw a lot of cards with this card anyway. So after that, we have Archmage Emeritus. It is 2 and 2 blue for a 2/2 human wizard that has Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, draw a card. After that, we have Contact Other Plane. It is 3 and a blue for an instant that says roll a d20. If the result is 1 to 9, you draw 2 cards. If the result is 10 to 19, you scry 2, then draw 2. And if it is a nat 20, you scry 3, then draw 3. After that, we have Diviner's Portent. It is X blue for an instant that says roll a d20 and add the number of cards in your hand. If the result is 1 to 14, you draw X cards. If the result is 15 plus, you scry X, then draw X. After that, we have Niv Mizzet Parun. Triple blue, triple red for a 5/5 dragon wizard that says this spell can't be countered, has flying, and whenever you draw a card, Niv Mizzet Parun deals 1 damage to any target, and whenever a player casts an instant or a sorcery spell, you draw a card. After that, we have Ponder. It is 1 blue for a sorcery. You look at the top 3 cards of your library, you put them back in any order, shuffle, then draw a card. After that, we have Preordained. It is 1 blue for a sorcery, scry 2, then draw a card. After that, we have Rhystic Study. I'm always going to pay the 1, but will you pay the 1? It is 2 and a blue for an enchantment that says whenever an opponent plays a spell, you may draw a card unless that player pays 1 generic mana. We have Teferi's Ageless Insight. It is 2 and 2 blue for a legendary enchantment that says if you would draw a card except the first one you draw in each of your draw steps, you draw 2 cards instead. We have Windfall. 2 and a blue for a sorcery. Each player discards their hand, then draws cards equal to the greatest number of cards a player discarded this way. After that, we have Wizard class. This is 1 blue mana for an enchantment class. So the first level is you have no max hand size, which again is fantastic in this deck. Level 2 is 2 and a blue. Whenever this class becomes level 2, you draw 2 cards. And when this class is level 3 at 4 and a blue mana, whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. All right, we're going to go into the removal packet now. And we're going to start off with Blasphemous Act. This is 8 and a red for a sorcery that says this spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature on the battlefield. Blasphemous Act deals 13 damage to each creature. After that, we have Chaos Warp, 2 and a red for an instant that says the owner of target permanent shuffles it into his or her library, then reveals the top card of their library. If it's a permanent card, they put it onto the battlefield. We have Clay Golem next. It is 4 mana for a 4/4 artifact creature golem that has Monstrosity. Pay 6, roll a d8, and has Monstrosity X, where X is the result. Basically, you put X amount of 1/1 counters on it, and when it becomes monstrous, you get to destroy target permanent. Another way of rolling dice. We have Counterspell, 2 blue, counter target spell. We have Farideh's Fireball. I could not have Farideh as my commander and not play Farideh's Fireball. It's just total flavor reasons. So it is 3 and 2 red for an instant that says Farideh's Fireball deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker, roll a d20. So if the result is 1 to 9, it deals 2 damage to each player. If it is 10 to 20, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. And you want to be doing it to each opponent. We have Negate. It is 1 and a blue for an instant, counter target non-creature spell. We have Opt. That should not be here. That is a card draw spell, James. Oh well, we're going to talk about it now. It scries 1, draws you a card. We have Pongify. It is 1 blue for an instant. This is destroy target creature. It can't be regenerated. Its controller creates a 3/3 green ape creature token. We have Power of Persuasion. 2 and a blue for a sorcery that says choose target creature and opponent controls, then roll a d20. If the result is 1 to 9, return it to its owner's hand. 10 to 19, its owner puts it on the bottom of their library. Sorry, they put it on the top or the bottom of their library. And 20, if you get a nat 20, it's awesome. And also, you gain control of that creature until the end of your next turn. We have Rapid Hybridization. It is 1 blue for an instant, same thing as Pongify, except you get a frog lizard. Reality Shift, 1 and a blue for an instant that exiles target creature. Its controller manifests the top card of their library. Alright, so we're going to be rolling dice in this deck. What's a better way to roll dice? It's roll more dice. So we're going to go into our packet here called Extra Dice. We have Barbarian class as our first one here. It is 1 red for an enchantment class that says if you would roll 1 or more dice, instead roll that many dice +1 and ignore the lowest roll. This pretty much gives you advantage on every roll. If you know D&D terms, advantage is you just roll 2 dice, pick the highest. When this one goes to level 2 at 1 and a red, whenever you roll 1 or more dice, target creature you control gains +2 and +2 +0 and gains menace until end of turn. At level 3, which is 2 and a red, creatures you control have haste. So it's just it's a haste enabler. It's a double dice it's a double dice rolling card. It also gives your commander, +2 +0 and menace, even though it gets menace, but doesn't matter, you swing with other things as well. After that, we have Pixie Guide. It is 1 and a blue for a 1/3 fairy with flying that says grant an advantage. So again, this is just advantage, so you roll 2 dice, pick the highest. Okay, after that, we're going to go into the artifact. Wasn't sure where to put these ones exactly, so we're just going to go through them in type order. So the first artifact here is Spiked Pit Trap. It is 1 mana artifact with flash, has an activated ability of 5 and tap, sacrifice Spiked Pit Trap, choose target creature, then roll a d20. If the result is 1 to 9, Spiked Trap deals 5 damage to that creature. If it is 10 to 20, Spiked Trap deals 5 damage to that creature, and you also create a treasure token. We have Sword of Hours. This is a 2 mana artifact equipment that says whenever equipped creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage, roll a d12. If the result is greater than the damage dealt or the result is 12, double the amount of 1/1 counters on that creature and has equipped for 2. We have the Deck of Many Things. This is a 5-mana legendary artifact with an activated ability of 2 and tap, roll a d20 and subtract the number of cards in your hand. If the result was 0 or less, discard your hand. If the result is 1 to 9, you return a card at random from your graveyard to your hand. If it is 10 to 19, you draw 2 cards. And if it is 20, you put a creature card from any graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. When that creature dies, its owner loses the game. See, this thing draws cards, also says you might lose the game. So I don't know where to put it. We have Treasure Chest next. It is 3-mana artifact that has an activated ability of 4 and sacrifice Treasure Chest to roll a d20. If the result is 1, trapped, you lose 3 life. If it is 2 to 19, you create 5 treasure tokens. If it is 10 to 19, you gain 3 life and draw 3 cards. And if it is 20, you search your library for a card. If it's an artifact, you may put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, put that card into your hand, then shuffle. The last one we have here is Wizard's Spellbook. This is 5 and 2 blue for an artifact that has tap, exile target instant or sorcery card from a graveyard, roll a d20, activate only as a sorcery. Notice this says from a graveyard, not your own graveyard. So if the result is 1 to 9, you get to copy that card, you may cast the copy. If it is 10 to 19, you copy that card, you may cast the copy by paying 1 generic mana rather than paying its mana cost. If you roll a nat 20, you copy each card exiled with Wizard's Spellbook. You may cast any number of copies without paying their mana costs. That could be huge if you get that nat 20 roll on Wizard's Spellbook. Alright, we're going to go through enchantments next. We only have one here, and that is Maddening Hex. It is 1 and 2 red for an enchantment or a curse. It says enchant player. When enchanted player casts a non-creature spell, roll a d6. Maddening Hex deals damage to that player equal to the result, then attach Maddening Hex to another one of your opponent's chosen at random. Alright, after that we're going to go into the Sorceries. And we have 3 of them. We have Jeska's Will as our first one. It is 2 and a red for a sorcery that says choose one. If you control a commander, as you cast a spell, you may choose both. You add red mana for each card in target opponent's hand, or you may exile the top 3 cards from your library. You may get to play them this turn. We have Reckless Endeavor. 5 and 2 red for a sorcery that says roll 2 d12s and choose one result. Reckless Endeavor deals damage equal to the result to each creature, then create a number of treasure tokens equal to the other result. Man, I'd love to be able to get this and a couple of the dice rollers on here as well, the double dice rollers. Oh, that'd be fantastic. After that, we have Surge to Victory. This is 4 and 2 red for a sorcery that says exile target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. Creatures you control get +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is that card's mana value. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player this turn, copy the exiled card. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. This is a victory card, and I am absolutely in love with this card. Alright, we have the instant spells here. The first one we're going to talk about here is Berserker's Frenzy. It is 2 and a red for an instant that says cast the spell only before combat or during combat before blockers are declared. You roll 2 d20s and ignore the lower roll. So again, this gives you advantage on the roll. So if the result is 1 to 14, you choose any number of creatures. They block this turn if able. 15 to 20, you choose which creatures block this turn and how those creatures block. You want to be able to board wipe somebody? You can do it with Berserker's Frenzy, and I absolutely love it. We have Critical Hit. It is 1 and a red for an instant that says target creature gains double strike until end of turn. When you roll a nat 20, return critical hit from your graveyard to your hand. A natural 20 is the 20 that is rolled on the that is displayed on the die. So none of those little fancy kind of, oh, I'm adding my hand size to it. It's 20. It's not a nat 20. It has to be rolled and rolled a 20 on the die. All right, we've gone through all of that. Let's get into the creatures here. This is how we're going to be winning the game, besides actually having our commander out or doing any damage with our spells. We're going to go through our creature package. We have Aberrant Mind Sorcerer. It is 4 and a blue for a 3/4 human elf shaman that says when Aberrant Mind Sorcerer enters the battlefield, choose target instant or sorcery card in your graveyard, then roll a d20. If the result is 1 to 9, you may put that card on top of your library. If it is 10 to 20, you get to return that card to your hand. We have Arcane Investigator, 1 and a blue for a 2/1 elf wizard that says search the room. So it is an activated ability of 5 and a blue, roll a d20. If it is 1 to 9, you get to draw a card. If it is 10 to 20, you get to look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. We have Brazen Dwarf as our next card. It is 1 and a red for a 1/3 Dwarf Shaman. That says whenever you roll 1 or more dice, Brazen Dwarf deals 1 damage to each opponent. We have Chaos Channeler. This is 2 and 2 red for a 4/3 human shaman with Wild Magic Surge. Whenever Chaos Channeler attacks, roll a d20. If the result is 1 to 9, you exile the top card of your library. You may play it this turn. If it is 10 to 19, you exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. If it is a nat 20, you exile top 3 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. Basically just letting you essentially draw cards and play things. I love it. And lets you roll dice, which is what your commander wants to do. The next one we have is Chaos Dragon. It is 1 and 2 red for a 4/4 dragon with flying and haste. Chaos Dragon attacks each combat if able, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, each player rolls a d20. If 1 or more opponents had the highest result, Chaos Dragon can't attack those players or planeswalkers they control this combat. It's just a 3-mana 4/4 that has to swing, and when you swing, you roll a dice, which is going to make you draw cards. It's great. We have Delina Wild Mage. This is 3 and a red for a 3/2 Elf Shaman. Now says when Delina Wild Mage attacks, choose target creature you control, then roll a d20. If the result is 1 to 14, you create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of that creature, except it's not legendary, and it has exile this creature at the end of combat. If it is 15 to 20, you create one of those tokens and you roll again. So basically you make another tapped and attacking creature which exiles itself to the end of the turn, and then you keep going. So you might be able to get 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 copies of creatures. Who knows what you're going to be swinging in with there, but I love this card. The ceiling is high, the floor is low. I love it. It's great. We have the Genie Windseeker. Windseer. It is 3 and a blue for a 3/3 Djinn with flying that says when it ETBs, you roll a d20. If the result is 1 to 9, you scry 1, 10 to 19, scry 2, and nat 20, scry 3. We have Earth Cult Elemental, 4 and 2 red for a 6/6 Elemental with Siege Monster. So when it ETBs, you roll a d20. 1 to 9, each player sacrifices a permanent. 10 to 19, each opponent sacrifices a permanent, and if you roll a nat 20, each opponent sacrifices 2 permanents. So it's a big old 6/6 for 6 that also gets rid of some of the things on the battlefield that kind of paves way for the rest of your creatures. Why not? I love it. We have Feywild Trickster, 2 and a blue for a 2/2 Gnome Warlock that says whenever you roll 1 or more dice, create a 1/1 blue Fey Dragon creature token with flying. Yes, we're going to be making tokens in this deck as well. We have Goblin Electromancer. It is Izzet colors for a 2/2 Goblin Wizard that says instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Love it. We're going to be drawing a lot of cards in this deck. So how are we going to deal damage with that? We're going to do it through Psychosis Crawler. This is a 5-mana Star, horror artifact creature. Psychosis Crawler's power and toughness are equal to the number of cards in your hand. Whenever you draw a card, each opponent loses 1 life. Next we have Scion of Stygia. It is 2 and a blue for a 2/1 Tiefling Shaman with Flash. Cone of Cold is its triggered ability, so when it ETBs, choose target creature an opponent controls, then roll a d20. If the result is 1 to 9, you tap that creature. 10 to 20, you tap that creature and it doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. Next we have Spark Double. This is 3 and a blue for a 0/0 illusion. You may have it enter the battlefield as a copy of a creature or planeswalker you control, except it enters with an additional +1/+1 counter on it if it's a creature. It enters there with an additional loyalty counter if it's a planeswalker, and if it is legendary, it's no longer legendary. So this is going to make you a second copy of your commander, a second copy of a Niv Mizzet, a second copy of anything else you want on the battlefield, and if you want another planeswalker, we have a planeswalker in this deck as well. We just haven't got there yet. Just give me like 2 seconds and we can get there after this packet. Next we have Stormkiln Artist. This is 3 and a red for a 2/2 Dwarf Shaman that says Stormkiln Artist gets a +1/+0 for each artifact you control and has Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, you create a treasure token. We have Swarming Goblins. It is 4 and a red for a 4/3 Goblin that says when Swarming Goblins enter the battlefield, roll a d20. If the result is 1 to 9, you create a Goblin token. If it is 10 to 19, create 2 tokens. If it is nat 20, you make 3 of those tokens. We have another card here, and this is a flip card. So we have Uvilda, Dean of Perfection. It is 2 and a blue for a 2/2 Djinn Wizard that has tap. You may exile an instant or sorcery card from your hand and then put 3 hone counters on it. It gains at the beginning of your upkeep. If this card is exiled, remove a hone counter from it. And when the last hone counter is removed from this card, if it's exiled, you may cast it, and it costs 4 less generic mana to cast. So you're going to be basically getting everything in here kind of cheap. We also have the flip side of this card here, and it is Nasari, Dean of Expressions. It is 3 and 2 red for a 4/4 Efrit Shaman that says at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top 2 cards of each opponent's library. Until the end of turn, you may cast those spells from among those exiled cards, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. Whenever you cast a spell from exile, put a +1/+1 counter on Nasari, Dean of Expressions. And lastly, we're going to get into our Planeswalker for the deck. So we have Ral Storm Conduit. It is 2 blue and a red for a 4 loyalty Planeswalker that says whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, Ral Storm Conduit deals 1 damage to target opponent or Planeswalker. Has 2 activated abilities, +2 to scry 1 or -2 when you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn. Copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. And with that, that is it. That is the Farideh Devil's Chosen deck that I put together for the YouTube channel. Hope you liked this video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, hit the bell, leave a comment, do everything that we normally tell you to do. And if you want to support us on Patreon, you can do that at patreon.com/commanderatarms. We also have our merch shirts in the link below. I wear one every time we record, every time we stream, every time we do anything that is related to Commander at Arms content. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do that at CMDR@arms. We also have the Instagram at the same handle. And I guess that's probably everything. If you want this deck or any other cards and still support your local game stores online, you can do that through a TCG affiliate link. That is tcgplayer.com/commanderatarms. And with that, I'm James, and this has been a new Commander at Arms deck tech.
Peace.
See ya.